Hello guys, today I'd like to talk about my perfect Fortnite. So if you guys didn't know, a YouTuber by the name of Jed made a video about half a year ago talking about his perfect Fortnite, or as he called it, Gednite, and he discussed various changes he would like to make to the game in order to improve its quality. So today I'll be responding to his video and letting you guys know what my perfect Fortnite would be like. But before we get started, I recommend that you guys go check out his video. I'll put the link in the description. And it's a very well made and thought out video that brings up some pretty good points about Fortnite. So the first topic that I'll be discussing is Bloom. Personally, I think Bloom should be removed from the game, and the reason I think it should be removed is because it directly counters skill. Because if you have good aim, unless you're utilizing first shot accuracy, where your bullets go is completely up to RNG, which I think shouldn't be the case. Now on to the next topic, the shooting model. The shooting model for Fortnite right now is way too RNG based, and I think to solve this problem, the shooting model could be a completely new shooting model could be introduced, and in my perfect Fortnite, said shooting model would involve weapons having recoil, bullet spread, the ability to aim down sights, bullet drop, bullet travel time, and damage drop off. My reasoning for this is that Fortnite is a battle royale game, which means that players can be hundreds of meters away from you, and I think that it is fairly ridiculous that all player has to do in order to shoot someone is put their reticle or crosshair on them and pull the trigger. So what I would do is add bullet drop and travel time to every weapon in Fortnite. Obviously these stats would vary from weapon to weapon, and in addition I feel as though recoil should be added in order to encourage tap firing and less spraying. This is because in my perfect Fortnite, when aiming down sights with any weapon, whether the player is walking or not, the player would have 100% accuracy while shooting, whether they're spraying or not. And the next topic I'll be discussing is building and material gathering. In my perfect Fortnite, the farming rate would be increased by 40%, so the same as arena mode, and this is because material gathering in Fortnite should take time, but it shouldn't be a chore. And as of the current moment, material gathering in Fortnite matches and normal Fortnite matches takes way too long. And in addition, the material cap should be set to 500 wood, 500 brick, 500 metal, so the same as arena mode. And this is due to the fact that if the harvesting rate were to be increased by 40 and the material cap stayed the same, so 999 for each type of material, then things like turtling might be too strong, and it would be very hard to counter things like that. So as for building, I feel building is in a pretty good spot right now. And the next topic I'll be talking about is the weapon roster, items, traps, and meds. At the current moment, Fortnite's weapon roster is too big. Many of the weapons are unbalanced, others favor luck as opposed to skill, and some are just useless. In my perfect Fortnite, rarities would not exist, and although some items would be rarer than others, the system of rarities that is currently in place wouldn't exist. In my perfect Fortnite, the only meds would be bandages and medkits. Bandages would take 2.5 seconds to use, and they would increase a player's health by 25, and they could be used to heal to full health. And medkits would take 10 seconds to use, and they would heal to full health. And the next part of this topic that I'd like to discuss is items and traps. The items and traps in my perfect Fortnite would be grenades, campfires, launch pads, and spike traps. In my perfect Fortnite, the weapon roster would consist of the assault rifle, the heavy assault rifle, the SMG, the pistol, the pump shotgun, the bolt action sniper rifle, and the hunting rifle. In this version of Fortnite, the SCAR would have the least recoil out of both of assault rifles, and the AK would have the most. Along with that, the SCAR would have fairly fast traveling bullets compared to the AKs, which would travel much slower in comparison. And the SMG and pistol would both have a fairly slow bullet travel time, and the SMG and pistol would both have decently low recoil. As for the bolt action and hunting rifle, they would both have decently high recoil, And to add on, in this version of Fortnite, close range weapons, pump shotguns, standard pistols, and SMGs would spawn in the ground, and all other weapons would spawn in chests. The only forms of loot in my perfect Fortnite would be floor loot, chests, and ammo boxes. In my perfect Fortnite, the shield system will no longer exist. This is due to the fact that getting shields is purely RNG based, and unless you're playing the mode with siphon settings, which in that case it is only partially RNG based. In order to compensate for this huge change, all players would have a max of 200 health, and all players would spawn with 200 health. And as for the map, in my version of Fortnite, the map would look similar to how it did in Season 1, but there would be alterations to loot distribution, and this is due to the imbalance of loot and players at each named location of the map. Now that we're on the topic of the map, I'd also like to discuss vehicles. Considering how small Fortnite's map is, especially when compared to other Battle Royale game maps, such as PUBG, for example, Ring of Elysium, Apex Legends, when I'd say that Fortnite is a game that doesn't need vehicles, and this is because in Fortnite players can walk, run, build, and launchpad their way to different locations, which those methods of transport should be enough. So the next topic I'll be discussing is the storm, which this is pretty simple. The storm's damage should be doubled due to the changes made to the healing system. And when it comes to gameplay, I feel there are some changes that need to be made. First of all, I agree with Jed on this one. Players should have the ability to peek on their left and right sides, and they should also be able to aim down sights on either side. And there would obviously be a keybind / button for this feature. Next, fall damage should be doubled in order to compensate for the changes made to the healing system. So for the next topic, explosives, I feel as though every explosive in the game besides standard grenades should be vaulted. Again, I'd agree with Jed on this one. My reasoning for this being that explosives should require you to be vulnerable while also not just spamming. And the final topic I'd like to talk about is matchmaking in normal game modes. So to start off, in my perfect Fortnite, normal game modes would be solos, duos, and squads. And in my version of Fortnite, there would be two different modes of Battle Royale, quick match and ranked. In a quick match, players would be matched with other players on the same servers as fast as possible. And on the other hand, in the ranked playlist, they would also be playing on the same servers, but you would also have to have similar stats. The stats that would be accounted for would be kill to death ratio, win rate, and games played. If you're still watching this video, thank you for doing so, and remember, if you like it, leave a dislike, and if you dislike the video, also leave a dislike. So again, thanks for watching.